we are going to move to cover some stuff that is very important. So let me change the scene, and here we go. Give me 1 second, and off we go. Let me change the scene. Yeah, so here we go. So first things first, you guys, we of course have this tweet from Jan and Pomnishi yesterday, which is it's sort of a tweet as a reply to what Kramnik posted on chess.com. And Jan posts, because he's the hero Gotham deserves, but not the one it needs right now. So first and foremost, the tweet was on Kramnik's profile. I don't know if it's still on Kramnik's profile. I'm obviously not going to go there and check, but it says, and let me stop the music as well so we can keep going with this. Yeah, so it says, some small new piece of statistics. Recently noticed a player had scored 45.5 out of 46 consecutive 3-minute blitz games against approximately 2950 in average rating opposite a few different players, which is equivalent to 3600 plus performance in those 46 consecutive games. I believe everyone would find this interesting. Is the audio echoey? Probably not, but I'll double check. So first and foremost, we'll start with Kramnik, then we'll talk about Nepo. That's where we'll start. So Kramnik basically refers to this piece. He says 45.5 out of 46 consecutive 3-minute blitz games against approximately 2950 in average rating opposition, which is the equivalent to 3600 plus performance. So Kramnik basically puts out this insinuation. Now, this can be taken many different ways. If we're being really generous, we can say that Kramnik's just trying to show that there are statistical anomalies online, and that's what he's saying. I don't really believe that, frankly, because as I told you guys a couple of months ago, I do know that Kramnik has already accused me behind the scenes of cheating. So that is not really in dispute. So when Kramnik puts this out, there are a couple things to point out. First of all, it's amazing how you can spin statistics in a way that looks really good for you and tries to make someone look bad. So the casual amateur player who looks at this and be like, wow, 2950 in average against 3600 plus. Now, as everybody knows, the online ratings are inflated. So for example, on chess.com, I believe my rating is currently 3300. Am I a 3300 player? No, of course I'm not a 3300 player. My rating is 2800, but there is a lot of inflation. So ratings can be anywhere from 400, 500 point differentials. And it actually shows in all the players who I played against. So let's actually just dive right into the or no, let's talk about let's just talk about the Nepo part now first before we get into stats, because I actually was bored enough that myself and a couple of my mods, we compiled some statistics. So first, we have this Jan tweet which says, because he's the hero Gotham deserves, but not the one it needs right now. Now this is a typical Jan tweet. Jan actually tweets a lot of things that can be taken many different ways. Now there are a couple things that I have to point out about this. First of all, when we look at this, I don't know what Jan means by Gotham. Now, he could obviously, we're going to be very generous and give him the benefit of the doubt, he could just be making a reference to the Dark Knight. On the other hand, however, I would say that I do know for a fact that Jan is not a huge fan of me. He's also definitely not a fan of Levy either. So I do think there is definitely the possibility that when Jan makes this tweet, he is implying something related to Levy and content and Levy making money that he doesn't deserve. Now, of course, it is fairly ambiguous. So if Jan wants to say these sorts of things, he should just come out and say what he means to say. He should clarify what his intentions are, rather than trying to sort of straddle the line and make it where it can be taken as a joke, or he could also be totally serious but hiding it within the context of a joke. It's a Batman quote. The problem is the second time that Jan has done this in relation to me. There was another one related to headphones where Jan also, quote unquote, was trying to make a joke. And yet again, there's the other problem that I do know that Jan as well has said things behind my back too. So there are a couple of problems. I will react to the Eric video a little bit later on. So it's very unclear what Jan means by this. It could be related to Levy. It could be just a quote to the movie. But Jan really should clarify what he's trying to say here, rather than trying to be ambiguous and have these innuendos. So that's the first thing that I would say. So that's Jan. Kramnik's tweet, of course, it looks very impressive on the surface. Again, I know what Kramnik is doing with all this stuff. He's trying to sow the seeds of doubt, where he's just trying to point out all these statistical things based on his stats and make it look like there are all these different things that are anomalies. And of course, they can't all be anomalies. So obviously, there's cheating going on. That's what he's doing very clearly. So let's move to my reply now. So this was my reply to the tweet, which was, Vladimir appears to be referencing my record. Is he really accusing me of cheating? Are you jumping on this accusation as well by tweeting this garbage? Now, obviously, when I say by tweeting this, there was no need for Nepo to tweet this out. Literally no need. So it's very, very unclear what Nepo's trying to say here. As far as Kramnik, though, there's no doubt what he's saying. He's basically, again, he's going to try to say, oh, it's interesting. Doesn't mean someone's cheating, but it's interesting. But when you do this, again, I would say as far as Kramnik goes, just come out and say what you're trying to say. Stop trying to hide behind, oh, it's interesting, or, you know, there's this piece, that piece, and just say it. Because as an example, I would actually rush to the aid of somebody else who I know, which is Jocelyn. Now, Kramnik, as it relates to Jose Alcantara Martinez, the, I believe, Peruvian player. I think he has a Mexican flag on his profile, but I believe he's from Peru. Kramnik very clearly is saying things about Jocelyn, saying, oh, it's just interesting, it's just a little bit different. Again, I would say, as far as Kramnik goes, just come out and say what you mean. Now, obviously, like as far as I go, I don't think Jocelyn is cheating. I would say that I'm like 99.9% sure that he's not cheating. But again, Kramnik at the end of the day is putting these things out under the guise of saying it's interesting or it's different, or, you know, it shouldn't be happening. And it feels very much like he's just trying to sow the seeds of doubt. That's what's happening at the end of the day. So, this is the first bit. Now we are going to move on here, of course. I guess if you guys have specific questions, I can answer them. I do actually have some stats compiled, which I will be showing you guys in a second. Let me just see. Is there anything else that I'm missing? You guys have any questions before we move forward? There is a Ben Feingold tweet as well, which I am aware of. I think Ben said basically 0% chance. Yeah, I see Jose's here as well. Yeah, I mean, but see, the problem with this too is, like, for me, for example, when Kramnik says, I can obviously respond. I mean, I'm actually going to just, I'm going to show you guys that I truly am a data scientist very shortly. But I can respond to this. But someone like Jocelyn, for example, who's like 2600 GM, I mean, he's a streamer, but he's not super prominent, obviously, you know, in the world of chess. He has no real way of responding to it when Kramnik does this. It's just straightforward. Do I think he's doing it to undermine chess? I do think there are potential chances. Yeah, and also Livid asked an important question, which I was also going to get to. What's the difference between these accusations and your insinuations towards Hans? The fact, there are a couple of differences. First of all, there's the obvious difference. Hans cheated online. He admitted to cheating online. There's a chess.com report which says he cheated in up to 100 games online. Full stop. That's the first big difference. Second big difference, and I'm going to say this again, I reiterate it back then, I will reiterate it now, is that behind the scenes, there are a lot of top players who talk to each other. There are a lot of things that are said, and that does not mean that they necessarily see the light of day. You know, they don't see the light of day at the end of the day is what I was about to say, but they don't see the light of day. They say very sort of hidden below the surface and only spoken about amongst top players generally. So I will reiterate again that there were a lot of top players who were saying things. At the end of the day, there are people who say, oh, it's me or it's Magnus. As I said back then, and I would say it again, for 2 years prior to the events of Singfold Cup, there were people saying things behind the scenes about Hans. Full stop. I'm not going to name names, and the reason that I refuse to actually name the names is that at the end of the day, when you look at the top players for all of us, whether it's myself, whether it's Nepo, whether it's Fabiano, whether it's Levon, whomever it might be, you know, we've all been playing the same set of tournaments, the Grand Chess Tour, all these events with each other for many, many years. And at the end of the day, you know, I very much do feel some sort of camaraderie with these people, and I don't really feel like it's right to throw them under the bus over this one single issue. So that's what I'm going to say very clearly to answer your question there about the topic, because I know there are going to be people who are going to say that they're going to say, like, well, you know, this is the same situation. It's not the same situation at all, just very clearly. So I do want to point that out. So that's what I want to point out first and foremost. I don't know what Jan is trying to say here. I don't know. I mean, I know Jan doesn't like me. I know he does not like Levy at all. So I really don't know whether it's about the movie or whether it's actually something more. You could take it either way. Jan can obviously clarify it at the end of the day. It's up to Jan to clarify it. So this is where we're going to start with. Now we are going to move forward. So let me change the scene, of course. And here we go, you guys. So today, in honor of Vladimir Kramnik, who thinks he's some sort of expert in data and statistics and everything, today, unfortunately for Kramnik, I am the data scientist, bish. So let's get right to the data. So here we go. Here's the data. So Kramnik basically looked at 46 of my games, you guys. He looked at 46 games, and he's basically saying that my stats were an anomaly. Now, of course, Kramnik did many things wrong. First and foremost, rather than use our actual ratings, Kramnik used the inflated online ratings to make the performances look out of this world good. Now, keep in mind, in actual chess, there is nobody whose rating is 2950. Nobody in the entire world, not even Magnus Carlsen himself. So when Kramnik does that, he's inflating the rating, so he's not using the true numbers. And let's take a look at the real numbers. So here we go. We have my stats. These are the 46 games, by the way, that I played. The exact 46 games, I scored 45.5 out of 46. Now,
first things first, let's look at our opponent's ratings. Now, my opponent's classical ratings are 2471, 2435, 2332. One game against Enjal, who is Hiram Makobian, 2616. We have games against a 2435, games against a 2399, and of course the last player, the Turkish legend, a kid who I think has great potential. Legend is back one. So the average rating of the players is 2421.98. So when you now see the rating, 2950 is not the average rating. The actual true average rating is 2421. So I am playing 46 games here against people who are more than 350 points lower rated than I am. So I'm playing people who are 350 points lower rated than I am over the board. And my expected score, as you can see, is 89.16%. So my score is actually very, very high to begin with in terms of what I'm expected to score, with 89.16, right? Very, very clear cut. You can also see the accuracy. Like my accuracy here, I have a couple of good games. I've got a 97, I've got a 99. I'm assuming this was probably a really quick win. But on average, my accuracy is 88.29. Okay, I mean, it's still something. I mean, it's good, but it's not like I think 92 to 95 is what you expect if we're playing at our absolute best. How does he get 3600? Because he's using my rating of 3300, scoring 45.5 out of 46 against 2950 average. So there's an error in row 44. 44. What's the error? There's an error. What's the error? I don't see the error. I don't know. Maybe there's something, but at any rate, I think you guys get the point. The point is I'm supposed to score 89.16%. Opponent error in 44. Oh, sorry. Oh, you're right. There is an error. Okay, you're right. He's 2496. There we go. Okay, so I corrected. So yeah, it goes down or it goes up. Wait, I don't understand that. But anyway, 89.04%. Okay. So it was 89.16, right? Or it was 89.16, 89.14, whatever. You guys get the point. Fact is I'm supposed to score 89%. Now, what that essentially means that over the course of 46 games, it means that basically if I were to lose like 4 or 5 games in the middle there, that would take my percentage down to like 89%, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe even lower than that. But at the end of the day, fact is, or were there some games, probably 4 or 5 games in these 46 where I got some big swindles? Absolutely. And in fact, there is one game very specifically against Enjal, which I'll show you guys shortly, where I was getting cooked hard and I was completely lost. Now I was able to swindle it and win, but that's what it is. Bruh, I came for chess. What is this Microsoft Excel? Well, basically today I'm trying to show you guys that I'm a data scientist. I understand AI. I understand how computer engines work. And I'm going to be applying for a job at Microsoft in the AI department, along with those 700 weird people who decided to leave OpenAI. In the meantime, back to our stats. Let's keep moving along. So we of course have like, for example, if we look at this stat, now we're going to talk about cherry picking, okay? Because cherry picking is an important thing here too. So you see, like this is what I scored, 98.91, because basically the 4 to 5 games where I was getting cooked, I was able to win, and that's that. So moving along, the next game after that win was against Legend is Back, the Turkish kid, which I lost, of course. So I lost against Turkish kid in the next game. And chat is frozen. Chat is frozen. I don't know. Maybe it is. Let me see. Chat is frozen. I don't know. Let's take it off for a second. But the fact is, let's see. So I lost this game, okay, and that takes my average down to 96.81. Right now, if we're actually looking at the real stats, which is basically games I played on that day, even, let's take a look at 56 games, which includes the games right before my streak began. So we go up to the very top here. I think you guys can see it. You'll notice that there are these games, these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games which were not great for me right before. Okay, there were 9 games right before there in which I beat Nico Theodoro. Of course, this is Kriari online by a score of 3.5, 2.5. It's a winning score, not great. It is what it is. And then of course our 3 games against Legend is Back, where I scored 1.5 out of 3. So if we factor in these extra games, and we go to the bottom, what is my expected score? The expected score here is going to be 87.65%, as you see, the expected win rate. Now, what do I actually score? I score a whopping 91.96%. So I outperformed by 4% when you actually add in all the regular stats. So again, look at this, 91% versus 87. So yes, 4%, massive outlier over a handful of games. Chat is frozen. Okay, I'll worry about it later. But the fact is, you get the point. The point is, at the end of the day, Kramnik doesn't know what he's talking about. And, you know, I'm not a data scientist. We all know that. I don't pretend to be one. But the fact that I can make a basic table like this and essentially show that the quote-unquote expert or someone who's claiming to be the expert and like finding cheating and taking up the mantle and all this doesn't know what he's talking about is a very, very bad sign, because I'm obviously not I'm not a data scientist. I don't really do any of this stuff, and all it takes me is like 30 minutes with myself and a couple of my mods to compile these stats, and you can see that Kramnik doesn't know what he's talking about. So it's just very, very weird to see Kramnik saying this. Again, I understand what Kramnik is trying to do very clearly with these insinuations. What he's trying to do is, he's going to claim that, oh no, I wasn't accusing him of cheating, it's just an interesting statistic. But it's a way of hiding behind what you're saying when you say it's interesting, instead of coming out on what you're saying, because he's going to say, well, this is interesting, Jossman's record is interesting, I don't know, some said Bluebaum, I don't know who else are saying it's weird. But he's trying to sow the seeds of doubt, where he's just going to give like 100 stats that some people like myself can actually look them up and prove that they're just wrong, and then there are others who won't, and they'll look at it and be like, wow, so like you look at the stat on the surface, like 45.5 out of 46 against 2950, wow, 3600, so Hikaru's playing better than Stockfish, when of course we both know that's not the truth. At the end of the day, it's just not the truth. So yeah, it's definitely disappointing to see all of this. I don't know what Kramnik is thinking, frankly, with I don't understand what Kramnik is doing. He's a genius. Yeah. But also, this is where I'm going to say another thing. And I know there are a lot of people in chess who, there are a lot of people who like what I'm about to say. There are a lot of people who won't like what I'm about to say. Chess has always had this image of like, we're these great geniuses, we're super smart, we're super brilliant, we play this game, and you have to be really smart to be good at this game called chess. As I've said probably 1,000 times on stream, I will say it once again. At the end of the day, you do not have to be a genius to play chess. Just because you're very good at memorizing positions, studying, pattern recognition, all these different things, does not mean you're suddenly a genius in every other field in the entire world. So Kramnik was a world champion, great chess player, someone that actually, like, up until probably the last like 6 months, I had a tremendous amount of respect for. Someone that I played many times. I had some great battles against him, playing in Dortmund, playing the Tal Memorial, some Petrov games, I mean, King's Indian games. I could go on and on and on. But I don't really know what Kramnik is thinking. So yeah, at the end of the day, it's very, very disappointing to see Kramnik doing this. I know, I mean, I'm sure that he's going to go back and say, oh, I was just giving a stat, like it doesn't mean anything. As I said at the start, though, there is the problem that I do know that Kramnik behind the scenes has already said stuff about me. I also know that Nepo has said stuff about me. So like, again, at the end of the day, it's very hard to take this in good faith and think that he's saying anything different. So very, very disappointing to see this from Kramnik. I mean, I would really hope that he leaves it to the actual experts, the people who are mathematicians and statisticians at chess.com, who do know what they're doing. That's what I would say. Straight up. Like, let the people who are actually the experts, there are mathematicians, there are statisticians at chess.com, let those people figure it out. That's what I have to say, plain and simple. All right, so that's the first little bit. Now, again, just also one last thing before we move on, I want to show you guys one thing. So of course, about the stats, like there was one game that I played against Enjal, which I won, but just to show you how insane this is as well, when you actually dive into it, I'm just going to go forward through the game. Doesn't matter where we get to. We get a position somewhere around. By the way, first of all, obviously, I must be the greatest cheater in the world if I'm going to get a position that's minus 1.3 on move 8. Actually, I get a position where it's minus 1.34 on move number 8. So I'm getting cooked out of the opening by Enjal. By the way, also, I think some people have said things about Enjal too. But let's keep going. So we have this game, like it's what it is. I'm a little bit worse. Somewhere around here it starts getting bad. In fact, I think I'm losing right around, yeah, around here. The evaluation, it's -3. It's -3. So again, I'm getting cooked really hard in this game by Enjal. I'm getting cooked really hard. I should lose this game. Now, obviously, I'm able to swindle him eventually. I think he plays c4. Knight takes b3 would have been winning, but we get to this position where I'm still getting cooked. It's -4.3. Makes a mistake with d3. I take, he takes, I go here. Now he misses queen g8, the very obvious move to stop the check with rook h7. Super obvious. He doesn't play it. And yeah, and now he blunders, and now it's +6, but I missed the win with knight d4 when rook h7 wins the game on the spot. So very, 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 very disappointing. So yeah, knight d4, we get queen takes h3, and eventually, of course, I get the swindle, I win the game, and I move on. Now, this wasn't the only game in the 46 games where I was getting cooked hard, and I managed to get a swindle. But at the end of the day, I think you guys get the point of what I'm saying, that it's completely insane for Kramnik. It also shows very clearly that he doesn't know what he's talking about at all, because in order to do proper analysis, you are going to have to go through all the games. You're going to have to look at things very closely. You can't just look at accuracy. You can't just look at the result. You also can't just take the online ratings and then come up with these performance ratings to suit your needs. Thank you so much to Velvet Canyon for the 5 gifts as well. Appreciate it. So yeah, so anyway, that was a little bit. Now we're gonna move on, of course, because we have some stuff to cover. You guys wanted me to watch the Eric Hansen video. I already had it on my radar, so we are gonna watch it. So here we go. Let's watch this video. It's 17 minutes, 10:36. We have plenty of time to get through it. Here we go. Let's get through it. Here we go.
Chess drama, but I didn't expect it on a Monday, right? Just watching England fail to beat North Macedonia in soccer today, and then my phone.
Let's put the speed at 1.25.
Eric, go check Twitter. You know, there's something there. And lo and behold, I go to Twitter, right? And I see everyone's best friend GMHikaru tweet that he's being accused of cheating.
Very true.
Didn't expect that on a Monday. So let's go
actually
back
wait,
to the
I'm
first
over
step.
Eric. Sorry, let me move my cam. Sorry.
An hour ago, Jan Nepomniachtchi tweeted, seems like a screenshot of Kramnik's chess.com page, which is usually pretty entertaining. As you see here, his status is despising cheaters.
It's still a little bit too slow. Let me put it 1.5.
He tweets, because he's the hero Gotham deserves, but not the one it needs right now. All right, what does the profile say? Some small new piece of statistics. Recently noticed a player had scored 45.5 out of 46 consecutive 3-minute blitz games against approximately 2950 in average rating opposition, 2 different players, which is equivalent to a 3600 plus performance in those 46 consecutive games. I believe everyone would find this interesting. Well, now that you say that, we will research that and try to find it interesting. Oh, look at that. My Twitter in Canada says Hikaru is now trending. So
there's only one problem. Hikaru trending doesn't refer to me, I don't think. If I click on Hikaru, it's probably some hot girl, right? Yeah. Oh, this doesn't look like me. Ayo, this doesn't look like me at all. What the heck? Wait, that doesn't look like me. What? Huh? That doesn't look like me. Wow. Okay. Yes, I changed. Where is there even a tweet about me? Like, none of this is even about me. So when they say Hikaru is trending, unfortunately, it's not about me. So, all right, let's keep going.
Nepo tweets this. Kramnik didn't tweet. This is a screenshot provided by Nepo, and writes, because he's the hero Gotham deserves, but not the one it needs right now. I'm not exactly sure how to read that. It doesn't necessarily mean an endorsement to me. Although if you follow Twitter, you'll know that Jan is pretty outspoken against cheating in chess.
True.
He complains about it a lot.
Yes.
Most recent tweet. Judging by the current state of affairs in online and over the board chess, either the cheating situation is completely out of control, or the rating system needs to be reformed, or both. That was October 13th. But he's definitely chats about it a fair amount.
Right.
And then we go back to Hikaru's page, right? And your tweets an hour ago, Vladimir appears to be referencing my record. Is he really accusing me of cheating? At Levitov Chess, at LeChessSQ, are you jumping on this accusation as well by tweeting this garbage? So I don't think it's necessarily clear that Nepo's posting that as an endorsement. I think it might mean that
someone's asked. Oh, okay. So actually, I'll be just to specify one thing, because I didn't specify it. When I tagged Levitov Chess, actually, I did respond to an email from him. He actually asked me about a week ago if I wanted to go on his podcast. Ilya Levitov used to be the head of the Russian Chess Federation in the, I want to say, late 2000s into the early 2010s. And now I don't think he's super involved with chess anymore, although he did organize a tournament in the Netherlands a couple of months ago. But he is someone who I believe is very close to Vladimir Kramnik. Most of the things that Kramnik has said have been on his podcast. So that's the reason I tagged him in this reply.
Against cheating online and publicity there, but maybe this isn't the right moment. That might be an interpretation. But it looks like Hikaru thinks the profile is about him. So
of course the profile is about me.
Hikaru scored 45.5 out of 46.
I mean, the problem is that when Kramnik puts it, Kramnik was actually very stupid. I'm gonna be honest. If Kramnik wanted to do it in a way to be anonymous, he would never put the average rating and the performance, because beating a 2950 average online, there are probably 3 people I can think of who could actually do that. The only 3 people who I think could farm 2950s in that manner are Magnus, myself, and Daniel Naroditsky. I don't think there's anybody else online who could do it. Obviously, Magnus hasn't been playing online, and it's very easy because you only have to check my profile or check Daniel's profile. So yeah, that's if Kramnik was actually had a brain, he never would have he would have found a way to do it without specifically listing it like that. But he doesn't have a brain, he's lost it. So let's keep going.
Or is he just assuming it's an accusation? I assume he knows it's about him. So we're gonna check Hikaru's chess.com. You're gonna ignore my score here, 8-37. You're gonna ignore that on the right. Let's go to Blitz.
Mm-hmm.
And let's look for a win streak.
Yep.
Let's look for a win streak here. 45.5 out of 46. To make sure it's Kramnik is accusing Hikaru. Because there's nobody in the world pretty much who could put up that score besides Magnus or Hikaru.
Or Danya,
right?
or
That's
Danya.
pretty much a given.
Actually, you know, I was gonna say if I bet Kramnik could go and look at Danya and find Danya just farming a bunch of 2900s and probably find somebody say, well, like Naroditsky, he scored like 58 out of 60 against like I don't even know which kids are 2900, but it would be I guarantee you there's probably somewhere that if you go back and you look at Danya's stats too, you'll find somewhere where Danya just like farmed the heck out of 2900s.
There's a lot of wins here. Let's go back a little further. 45. We're gonna have to count to 45. Okay, let's count starting here. November 16th, 2023. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 19 and a half. 20 and a half, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29 and a half. 30 and a half, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. 41, 42, 43, 44, 45.
Yep.
There you go. From November 16th to 17th, Hikaru scored 45 and a half out of 46.
Mm-hmm. Counting with Eric,
so
exactly.
Kramnik is definitely talking about him. Look at the ratings. 2900s, 3088. Probably balances out to 2950, 3000. 45 and a half out of 46. So Kramnik is absolutely talking about Hikaru.
Mm-hmm.
Now I get to start talking a bit here because it gets a bit interesting. Hikaru, yeah, he's jumping and assuming when Kramnik says interesting, he means he's accusing me of cheating. Okay. So in the last few years, particularly.
By the way, before we keep going with the video, someone says Kramnik should play Hikaru in Blitz. I've played Kramnik many times. I've played him in Blitz. I've played him in classical chess. I mean, I've played Kramnik a million times over the board. Like, I mean, as I said, that's why it's so bizarre to see this. It really is truly just beyond. It's beyond weird. It really is. I don't even know. Maybe it's just lost it completely. But very, very disappointing.
Barely. A lot of professional players have either directly expressed to me that they think Hikaru is cheating, or ask me if I think that Hikaru is cheating.
And now, this is where I'm going to pause the video, and I could say this exact same thing that a lot of players have spoken to me about. Other prominent players in the world of chess and have said the exact same thing. And this is actually getting to the crux of the problem with chess in general. And this really does get to the problem. I'll slow the speed down, but this really hits the crux in terms of the problem. And honestly, I would say if we go back to those events of a while back, this is the problem. Like what people don't, I think a lot of people don't understand, especially when I stream and I say a lot of things on my stream, is that a lot of these things that I'm referring to are things that have been said behind the scenes, like whether it's, you know, I'm at a dinner with Fabiano Levon, whether I'm at a dinner with Nepo, whether I, you know, there's some chess party wherever it might be. Like a lot of things are said behind the scenes that never really see the light of day. And this is exactly the problem. So like what Eric is saying here, for example, is not shocking. And actually I could say, I mean, I will just say this, everybody knows who I'm talking about, but there were multiple, I've heard this from multiple people about the Chess Champions Tour. There's one point on the Chess Champions Tour that there were at least like 3 different people who were sure that someone was cheating in one of these Chess Champion Tour events. They were sure, even though the stats don't bear it out, they were sure that someone is cheating. So this actually really does hit the hit the problem. This hits the crux of the problem, that everybody's saying things behind the scenes, and so like everyone's hearing all these things, everyone's becoming paranoid, and you don't really know what the truth is. So I'm talking about the Chess Champions Tour from this year, Division A, or Division 1, I guess it's called.
It's definitely started trending a bit more, maybe 3-4 years ago, maybe the onset of COVID. And this is my stance, and this is what I say to them, is I don't think Hikaru is cheating. And I also clarify, do you mean online or over the board? And usually the comments are online in particular. At the level of consistency that he plays with is just unreal online, and they're suspicious of it. That it's hard to
And
believe.
this is
And these are like strong professional players.
Whoa, thanks so much to Chess Dojo for the raid with 28. Thanks so much to Chess Dojo. Actually, before we keep going, big shout out to Chess Dojo. They did publish, I was actually on with them on Sunday on their stream. They did publish their podcast on their Chess Dojo channel. So make sure you do check out the Chess Dojo channel. Thank you so much for the raid. I would say in regards to that, also to be very clear, like there are a couple things that I think people really don't understand about this topic. So I know a lot of people, when they talk about it, they're like, oh, they're like, he's not consistent over the board. The first thing I would actually use another example for this is that one great example is Daniel Naroditsky. When you look at Daniel online without increments, whether it's 3-0 or 1-0, he is a god. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. Daniel is amazing. He is easily top 5. I mean, he's probably top 3 in bullet, maybe on a good day top 2 or top 1 if Magus or I aren't playing well. Like he's top 3 in bullet. He's top 5 in blitz probably online with no increment. Now, one thing that people seem to forget when they talk about him is they're like, well, he's never won the World Rapid and Blitz or things like that. There are a couple things. First of all, World Rapid and Blitz is not 3-0. 90, I would say probably 90. I don't even, I'm saying like 98 or 99% of the games that I play outside of Title Tuesday are always 3-0 with no increment. That's the first thing about online. Secondarily, people seem to conveniently forget there have been 2 times that I've come very close to winning the World Blitz. And unfortunately, there's this player from Norway who is just too good. I'm just going to say he's just too good at the end of the day. He's just too good. So, I mean, when people say that, it's just comical because, like, if I'm finishing runner-up to Magnus Carlsen, who's the greatest player of all time, well, I think as the saying goes, the results speak for themselves.
I understand there's a lot of paranoia about the cheating these days, but my answer is usually the same. I don't think Hikaru's cheating. And when they ask why, I'm like, I've seen him play in person. I've been playing Hikaru in person since I was a teenager.
This is also great.
In person,
this is great. You know what's great about this too? I'm gonna give you guys something funny. You probably have seen me say this, but like you know, I actually a while back I was in St. Louis, and I don't think there's any video of this, but thank you for the raid. Appreciate it. Thank you for the raid. But yeah, there's a while back, maybe it was like whenever the 960 was. Like I was in St. Louis, and I think Fabiano spoke about this when I beat him. When I beat him, or no, I didn't beat him, but he did a podcast, whatever it was, from the 960 event. And there's a story about me playing against Ray Robson where I played time odds, and Ray had 1 minute, and I was playing against him with like I think 35 seconds, and it was close to an even score. I think Ray was like +2 or +3, and it was what I wanted to say about the story is like I was kind of a little bit annoyed. I think when I lost the game, I was like I was like, dang, I wish if I was 10 years younger, you would not have been able to beat me like this or something like that. I don't remember the exact words I used, but I said something like that, and that's what makes it so funny is that like at the end of the day, I think I was a much better blitz player if we go back like 10 years than I am now. Like I'm much slower, the reaction time's not as fast. Like I legitimately think I was a better blitz player 10 years ago than I am today, which is why it's just so comical to see to see this being said. It's just comical. It really is.
Seen how he plays in person and how he plays online. He's just as resilient in person for the most part. Really, really strong still. Yes, he is a bit better online than in person, but not, he's got good mouse skills, good instincts. Some of those skills he has over the board, they're just amplified a bit online. I've seen him play in person.
I mean, a good example actually of this, I'm not going to pause many more times because you guys want to keep going, but like a good example of this is actually look at Magnus. Like online, I feel like Magnus loses a lot of games due to the mouse. Like there are a lot of critical moments, even games against me or others, where he loses on time or like he makes a mouse slip. I would say that like that makes a difference. It makes a big difference actually. I think it does. When you think about it, it really does make a difference.
Whether it's money on the line, and he's really, 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 really strong, and he's really good at just winning bad positions and fighting. It's like I played him for 15 years, and he's super frustrating to play against, and yeah, I think he's legit, and that I still do, but it was a rumor, and it still is something that a lot of players have been skeptical about, and not just about Hikaru. If you open that box, there's
yes, exactly. Yes,
exactly. People, the chess world. You spend so much time playing that game of chess, you can go a little bit crazy or overthink things. But yeah, that's my stance. Kramnik's talking about online games here. Hikaru's really good at beating lower rated players. Psychologically, he's really hard to play against, so he's able to like win 10-0. And those are casual games, so I don't know particularly why the casual games are being brought up. when he
Yes.
does have an ability to
Actually, this is
put up big scores. He's been doing it since the ice.
yeah, this is the last time I'm pausing the video, but I just want to say this because it just sort of it sheds light on how insane this is, like literally insane. Because if you think about it, the thing is, Kramnik did that whole long video about cheating. He's like, well, you cheat to get prize money. I think it was like you're only cheating at the end of the tournament, like all this hilarious stuff. That like you're just cheating at the end of terms. It's like, oh yeah, some casual online blitz games. Yeah, sure, exactly. Like ruin your career, like ruin everything. Like, I mean, seriously.
CC days. So yeah, I haven't been fully up to date with Kramnik's content, and I find it entertaining and I pay attention. He's a former world champion. He knows a lot about chess.
True.
I got to play him recently. His 11 game match. Yeah, his games are awesome.
Don't worry, Eric. You're part of a stat. You're part of a stat database now.
I don't know why Kramnik switched from trying to catch Title Tuesday offenders to referencing Hikaru there, because he says in his right here, like, I believe everyone would find this interesting. So Kramnik wants us to check it out. I just think Hikaru is really good at beating lower rated players, really good at the online chess grind, 3-0, whatever you want to call it, and I think it's natty. But I really have had a lot of players express to me concerns about Hikaru. And that surprised me at first, because I thought, like, for a long time he's been really good at online blitz and the way he wins. But anyways, that's
Eric's going to be on a list tomorrow. Yeah.
We'll have to wait for some more updates. Any questions there? Who is Kramnik referring to? No way, it's Hikaru. I just spent the entire video with Hikaru. Who else in the world can score 45 out of 46 against 2950? Who just did 2 days ago? Hikaru. I just went to his profile and I showed Hikaru just did 45.5 out of 46. Don't think Magnus did that a few days ago. So he's clearly referencing Hikaru, and he says the word interesting. If you've watched my videos on YouTube when I'm catching cheaters, I'm pretty good at that. You'll notice I often use the word interesting when they play a move I don't understand. Oh, that's an interesting move, my buddy. Or like, yeah, I use the word interesting. It's a bit vague.
Oh no! Oh no! Did Eric just accuse Buddy Pranav of cheating here? He just said Buddy. Oh no! Did Eric actually just accuse Buddy Pranav of cheating? Like that move by Buddy was interesting. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no, Eric. That's not a good road to go down. He just said that, right? He just accused Buddy Pranav of cheating, right?
Pretty good at that. You'll notice I often use the word interesting when they play a move I don't understand. Oh, that's an interesting move, my buddy. Or like, yeah, I use the word interesting. It's a bit vague, but kind of means, hey, there's something beneath the surface. So, like, why else would it be interesting? Hikaru is going for the top rating thing. So I'm just sharing my opinion. I don't think Hikaru should be at the top of the suspect list. His consistency online is unreal. It's pretty much unbelievable. But I have Hikaru as like the top 2 all-time speed chess player.
Yeah, that's pretty fair. Yeah.
In particular. And you can make a case that he's the GOAT of online chess because of how long he's been dominating online chess. Magnus has like taken breaks and not always focused on that. But if you go by longevity and results, Hikaru is like been dominating the rating charts.
I've been up there for a long time. It's true.
Since the mid 2000s, maybe. So coming up on 20 years. He's on the Mount Rushmore for speed chess for me. But even if we don't get along always, I've been playing him in person for a long time. I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of his game. And I think the main reason people are skeptical is how consistent he is result-wise. He can have a bad start, have losing positions, but he always ends up in the finals or winning.
Because at the end of the day, chess is about psychology, as Magnus has proven on many occasions.
And if somebody thinks it extends to over the board, I mean, Hikaru hasn't won a World Blitz title or World Rapid title, but he's finished on the podium multiple times and near the.
I mean, I played Magnus in tiebreak for first in Blitz.
Than Magnus in his chess, like he'll have some lost positions or bad positions against some players in the field that will happen a bit more frequently than Magnus, and Magnus has more golds. He's as a result.
Yeah.
And over the board is also 3-2. World Blitz and Rapid has increment, which is a different format, anyways.
Right. Also
yeah.
true.
I don't know. That's my take. We're gonna wait for some developments. I think Hikaru, he thinks Nepo might be jumping on the accusation. I don't necessarily read it as such, but I know Nepo is quite worried about cheaters online. As I said, you just look at his tweet history. So, yeah. Like, look at September 14th. For those who watched the recent C-Squared podcast episode, it is impossible to imagine that a player is still allowed to play with headphones.
One second, let me pause just to make sure that I'm registered. Yeah, I am registered. Just making sure I'm registered. Okay, let's keep going.
Yeah, actually, I didn't know you're allowed to play with headphones. I think I've been told to take headphones off multiple times. I don't know if that's a special rule they have for the event or something for Hikaru, but I thought headphones were not allowed.
Right,
So
here we go with this.
You know, Nepo's a bit concerned about. I mean, here there's only one guy wearing headphones, and that's not Fabiano over here.
Well,
But,
I mean, I didn't know there was. I thought the video was about to end, but I'll be clear on this as well. Like, Ali Reza wore headphones, and Nepo wasn't busy making a big deal out of that. That's what I would say on that. And also for I know it's a bit of a meme and a joke too about like not wearing headphones. But for anybody who is wondering, I did beat Maxime without headphones, and I did beat Magnus in the finals last year without headphones either. So it speaks for itself.
Separate thing, but it's part of a larger issue that we keep going back to. Is people are really worried about the cheating.
True.
But I'm a little surprised about Kramnik going for Hikaru based on casual blitz games. So anyways, TLDR, didn't pay attention. Hikaru thinks Kramnik is accusing him of cheating.
Yes.
I don't think Hikaru is cheating. I've been asked that by many players. There's definitely some rumors or suspicions there, but I don't think he is.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to wait for more. I can never say 100%, but in
That's
person
true.
he passes the eye test for me, and online
That's true.
seems it's plausible, but only plausible if you also, like me, consider him pretty much, you know, a top 2 speed chess player in history, especially for online. Like
True.
Just, yeah, just like one of the goats.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I can say 100%.
Kramnik has been
Absolutely.
going after a lot of people.
No, but
Again,
what I'm saying is that we don't need to keep watching the video. But what I'm saying is that at the end of the day, it is true that someone from the outside, you can never say like 100%. You can say like 99.99%. Like you can never say 100% because you actually don't know. That is true. But at the end of the day, Eric does touch on a few things that are very important overall. I would agree with that. So let's move on. It was a good video, and let's keep going.